June, 5th of June to 16th of June, Stockholm Conference was organized by UN General Assembly for Human Environment Development. In that particular conference, they have adopted 26 principles which were relating to environment. And more particularly, the emphasis was that what Lata has said, we have not inherited the earth from our parents, and we have borrowed it from our children. Please, please, please maintain sustainable development so that whatever you are enjoying from this earth, leave something for your future generation, for them to also have equal share of enjoyment, if not more. I would suggest if you can do some more, and it should be more development. There are 3 stakeholders who can make difference in the rather making the environment more and more friendly for our future generation. The first is the government or the society at large. It may be world, but I don't think we have any authority to talk about the world. Upliftment of the environment. They have made lots of regulation. I don't want to list them out here. There are lots of regulation which prevents deterioration of the environment by the individuals. Next, like in our own this small and wide boundary of BPCL property of all the residents of respective locality, they do their mind, then also there will be improvement. I would like to say that third stakeholder is none but I myself. Every one of us, what should we do? I have listed out some activities.
Thank you so much.
Good morning to all and happy Environment Day to you all. मैं यहाँ पर सीवूड्स रेसिडेंट वेलफेयर एसोसिएशन का प्रेसिडेंट करके आया हूँ। थोड़ा सा इसके बारे में बताना चाहूँगा कि सीवूड्स रेसिडेंट वेलफेयर एसोसिएशन हमारे इस एरिया में 18 साल से काम कर रही है, 2004 से काम कर रही है। और सीवूड्स राजा गणेशोत्सव करके आपको पता होगा सेक्टर 40 में जो बैठता है, वो मेन एक इवेंट है लोगों को एक जगह लाने का। लेकिन एक्चुअली सीवूड्स रेसिडेंट वेलफेयर एसोसिएशन एक सोशल और एनवायरमेंटल फील्ड में एक्टिविटीज़ में काम करती है। जैसे कि प्लास्टिक के बारे में बताया अभी साहब ने, तो प्लास्टिक कलेक्शन सेंटर हमने वहाँ पर मंदिर के बाजू में रखा हुआ है। जो भी घर में छोटा छोटा प्लास्टिक जमा हो जाता है, जैसे कि हम चाहिए तो भी अवॉइड नहीं कर सकते, प्लास्टिक का रैपर जमा हो जाता है, जैसे कि हम चाहिए तो भी अवॉइड नहीं कर सकते, प्लास्टिक का रैपर्स जो आ जाते हैं, चॉकलेट के रैपर्स वगैरह। तो हमने लोगों को वहाँ पर ये बताया कि आप घर में वो जमा करो एक प्लास्टिक के कोई भी बैग में, और आते आते मार्केट में जाते थे उसमें डाल दो। वहाँ से एनएमएमसी तो हम लोग रिक्वेस्ट करते हैं, एनएमएमसी लेके जाती है रिसाइकलिंग के लिए। इस तरह से बहुत से एक्टिविटीज़ है। यहाँ पर राजेश जी आए हुए हैं जिनका आप लोग सुना, मैं तो सुन चुका हूँ, लेकिन फिर भी उनकी बातें सुनने में मुझे और अच्छा लगेगा, आपको भी अच्छा लगेगा। इसके लिए ज़्यादा मैं बात नहीं करूँगा। लेकिन अभी जो आज का लेटेस्ट इशू है, जो 2 साल से हम लोग यहाँ पर परस्यू करें एनएमसी के साथ, इस सोसाइटी मुझे नहीं लगता है एक्सेप्ट दिस सोसाइटी आई हैव सीन सो मेनी ट्रीज प्लांटेड ओवर हियर। हम देख सकते हैं कि आजू बाजू के सोसाइटी में जगह न होने के कारण, पार्किंग की वजह से, बच्चों को खेलने की जगह नहीं है, तो पेड़ कम होते जा रहे हैं। सोसाइटी के अंदर जगह कम, मतलब पेड़ लगाना भी कम हो रहा है। तो और जहाँ हम लोग देखेंगे, हम लोग 7-8 साल से SRW हर जगह पे प्लांटेशन कर रही है। हर साल हम लोग 50 प्लांट्स लगाते हैं, और वो प्लांट्स हमारे जो मेंबर्स हैं उनको हम लोग अडॉप्ट करने को देते हैं, जो कि हम लोग बढ़ा रहे हैं। सिर्फ प्लांट उस जो प्लांट्स लगाए हैं उसको भी ग्रो होना, उसका वृक्ष संवर्धन होना भी जरूरी है। अभी हम लोग 7-8 साल से कर रहे हैं। अभी 2 साल पहले हमें यही चिंता होने लगी, हम लोग जगह लगाए कहाँ, क्योंकि सब जगह पे प्लांट्स, रास्ते, रोड सब क्लोज हो रहे हैं। तो हमारे दिमाग में 2 साल पहले एक सजेस्ट किया गया एक ने कि हम लोग देख सकते हैं कि एनएमएमसी के जो पहले रोड बनाए गए तो फुटपाथ पे जगह थी पेड़ को लगाने के लिए, लेकिन 2 साल से एनएमएमसी ने उसको जहाँ पर पेड़ नहीं है कंक्रीटीकरण चालू किया है, टाइल्स लगाना चालू हो गया है, और जो पेड़ गिरे स्टॉर्म में तो वो उस पेड़ को ऊपर से कटिंग किया जाता है लेकिन मूल से निकाला नहीं जाता है, तो यहाँ पर हम लोग फिर से प्लांट्स नहीं लगा सकते। तो पिछले 2 साल से हमने एनएमसी से परस्यू किया, लास्ट ईयर भी परस्यू किया था, उन्होंने 25-30 खड्डे जो चाहिए थे हमें उतने निकाल के दे दिए और हमने उतने 50 पेड़ वो फुटपाथ पे लगा दिए। अब फिर से ये सवाल उठ रहा है तो हमने फिर से एक लेटर दिया है एनएमसी को और उसको आज के न्यूज़पेपर में, नवराष्ट्र न्यूज़पेपर ने उसको उस मुद्दे को उठाया है फेसबुक पे देख के। ये मेरा जो फेसबुक का पोस्ट था उस फेसबुक को पोस्ट को लेकर उन्होंने उस मुद्दे को एनएमसी की तरफ लेके गया और पेपर में भी आउट किया कि एनएमसी इतने अच्छे अच्छे प्रोजेक्ट ले रही है लेकिन जो रोड पे फुटपाथ है, फुटपाथ की जो जगह है पेड़ की जहाँ से लोग चलते आते हैं, छाँव चाहिए, और वो जगह आप लोग क्लोज क्यों कर रहे हैं? तो इस तरह से ये जो इशू है हम लोगों ने 2 साल पहले लिया हुआ है। आप लोग भी आपके आजू बाजू के सोसाइटी मतलब जगह जहाँ पर नहीं है फुटपाथ पे अगर जगह है तो वहाँ पर पेड़ लगाएंगे।
Like to call upon our next key speaker, Mr. Rajesh Sundararajan. He is a MSc Agriculture and he is specialized in horticulture. Currently, he is associated with K. Raheja Corporation. He is in charge of developing and maintaining the landscape gardens in IT parks. He has also been handling the solid waste management in 3 Mindspace IT parks in Navi Mumbai. He has
Good morning, everybody. Actually, today, it's like every year on June 5th, we used to do these activities in my campus. So this year, actually, I was missing it. So when Madhukji told, will it be possible to connect with a group of residents in our civils, I was so happy. But this time, I'm not going to miss it. So every year, we used to connect with the IT employees, young generations. Because this one thing is missing in today. People do farming in mobile. Agriculture, if you see, there are games where they convert that farming into a game, apps. So they grow plants, they do the harvest, everything, and then that's all on virtual thing.
Because last 50 years, we have destroyed nature to that extent which never happened in 1,000 years. We have, out of our greed for development, I would say it was not required for us. For example, this water bottle is not required for me to drink water in this bottle. We could have bought in one glass bottle and we could have happily drink the bottle. During our school days, and we used to open the tap and we used to drink the water just like that. Today, they made us believe that no, that water is not safe and only drinking water in this bottle is safe. So now we are slaves to this marketing gimmicks. Like nothing happened when we drank those water. Nothing happened to us when we went to Matti and we used to play there. Today we don't send our kids to play in the ground because ganda ho jayega. So this is where, for example, a kid in the slum, they are more healthy than our children because this is the reason. They are connected to nature. They go and play. They drink any water and they build immunity. Whereas our children, in first 10 years of their life, they take the maximum antibiotic than we took in our entire life. The reason is they are not connected with nature. Nature teaches lots. For example, if you observe these trees this year, before monsoon particularly, you can see the termites, particularly in this season. If you go observe, even in your building somewhere, you will find 1 or 2 trees where you will find termites, right? If you see the termites, if they started building from the root of the tree to the stump upwards, then it indicates there is going to be a less monsoon this year. Whereas if you see the same termite going to build from 2 feet chod ke upar se banda hua hai, then it indicates there is going to be heavy rain this year. Small thing, but it's how we connect to nature. Nature teaches us many things. Same thing, the birds. Like if you see the nest building, if you see many of the Kawaka season, you will see a lot of birds sitting from your balcony. You can see the nest actually. If you see this nest, if they are built on top of the tree, which is open to sky, then it means you can take it for granted like ये साल थोड़ा बारिश कम होगा. Same thing, if they are built protected inside, that's an indication that yes, this year there's going to be heavy. Because birds and other things, they have these instincts, which we also had, but we have forgot to connect it back to the nature. So this is the main thing, like, okay. The topic composting is just something which happens by nature. Like even if you don't do anything, they get composted. Anything that is created by nature. For example, this is created by nature, this gets composted. This is created by us, so they don't get composted. Very simple. So anything and everything created by God gets composted, and by man they never get composted. That's it. Very simple. Okay. So someone asks like, "ये compost होएगा कि नहीं होएगा?" The answer is just ask yourself: did I create or did God create? That's it. A vegetable or thing, anything that comes from the soil, it's going to be consumed by me. How do I do that? If I go to a forest, no one does the composting. And the moment you enter the forest, you get that nice aroma, that earthly smell, which actually we all long. The one smell which caused by this actinomycetes bacteria. Like if you see the one first rain, they give that smell. We all long for that smell. Like I don't know how many of you enjoy that. I thoroughly enjoy that smell. The first rain, and when it falls on the soil and you get that smell, like you go and you get immediately connected to your childhood days. That smell मुझे बहुत मजा आता था. So that smell, it's caused by a microbe, which is there in the soil. Okay, the moment it comes into contact with the water, then they emit that smell. Right? There's millions of microbes, and in fact, due to the soil degradation, 27,000 species of microbes are getting distinct every year because of our activity. We don't conserve our soil. We do all those things which we are not supposed to do. Okay, and I am very happy to see this beautiful setup here, like because very few buildings or societies today have this kind of thing, and this shows that this residents here are connected to nature at least. Because, for example, the moment I entered, I saw this badam tree, like luxurious growth here, and today a tree like this and the security guard sitting over there, he doesn't need an AC, and even COVID time he would have got the maximum oxygen here. And that's something which we are missing today because we are sitting inside air conditioned. We are looking for artificial thing, but we forget we have better equipments here outside created by God here. Anything, as I said, anything which you throw out from your kitchen, anything other than plastics, as I told you, like food peels, kitchen waste, even your food waste. But only thing is, we need to take care which to put in the bin and which not to put in the bin. That's it. I would say for a beginner to start with, for doing their own composting. For example, Madhiji has distributed this basket for all the residents who were interested in that initial launch. Even this small basket, you can start composting in your kitchen. Yeah. For starting a composting, सबसे पहले you need that interest. Today we all think like, I will attend one session, I will do composting, मैं करूँगा. But most difficult thing in the gardening and composting is to start. I would like to do gardening, मैं करूँगा. But unless you put your hand, I'm not telling you for doing the gardening here, you depend on your gardener. No, he is going to get healthy, not you. So if you want to connect with nature and if you want to enjoy that feeling of, yes, I want to enjoy my gardening, start with a small seed. It can be any seed. We put 10 seeds, out of 10, even 2 may germinate, 8 may not germinate, all of 10 out of 10 may germinate. But the joy you will be able to enjoy only when you see it grow, water, and then you harvest that vegetable or fruits or palak, whatever it can be. And that day you say, that will be the best food cooked by you, like your wife, whoever it is like. You will say all this 5-star food nahi, because this was grown by you. That joy, which unless you connect, you will never enjoy, I'm telling you. Because this I am telling you, in all my IT parks, I introduced this concept of urban farming. So people generally come and we talk about solid waste management, we talk about segregation, Yes, I do segregation. My sir wet waste, dry waste segregate कर दिया. अब उसके बाद क्या है? ठीक है, okay. Then we do composting कर देंगे. Okay, composting कैसा करने का? अच्छा वो भी कर दिया. Compost इतना generate हो गया, 50 गुनी 100 गुनी compost हो गया. For example of this society, say if there are 200 residents here, okay, everyone have some 10 pots in their house or 15 pots in their house. कितना लगेगा pots को? Okay, ठीक है, give everyone one bag of compost, okay. So ठीक है, आपको हो गया. Then what? Everyone cannot feed the plant daily. Once in 3 months, even if I put 2 to 3 teaspoon, then it's enough for the plants to take care of its own. But what about my 100, 200 bags of compost lying over here? What do I do with that? ठीक है, मैं gardener को बोल दिया, gardener का अपने का. So sometimes when the whole building starts doing composting vigorously, then you need to think what next. That is where I introduce the concept of urban farming in my IT parks. So urban farming is a place because whenever when I go to Tamil Nadu and I come back and I always see the landing of the flight, then I see huge Mumbai and then all empty terraces. Like it's like typical concrete jungle. Now at least we have more green space. In Mumbai we lack that. And all empty terraces. Just imagine what if all the terraces start growing vegetable on their own. That would be a fantastic thing. For example, if my building, for example, this whole building grows dhania, neighbor he grows methi, okay? Just imagine those barter system, okay, BPCL sharing with Balaji Tower 100 bundles of palak and they are sharing 100 bundles of methi. So this can be a beautiful thing provided that interest comes from within. Because those empty terraces are the best place to grow vegetables, nothing else. Because here if I grow something, someone will come, they'll say, nahi, idhar nahi karne ka, mujhe lawn chahiye. So there are different opinions comes in societies, but apart from all these things, still you can be more sustainable by growing your own vegetables. When I say vegetables, I say like easy, there are different concepts of growing vegetables. Like one simple concept I would say is square feet gardening. Okay, square feet gardening is like 4 feet by 4 feet square, right? You divide it into, they get for 16 squares out of there. In those 16 squares, you can grow 16 varieties of vegetables. When you say 16 varieties of vegetables, you just list what is your monthly requirement. I can say, for example, you are growing radish, okay? I can grow 16 radish in 1 square of 1 square feet, okay? Because you get the good depth, you get good sunlight, you get nutrients, and then I grow 16 radish in 1 square, and every week I may not be able to consume more than 3 or 4 radish for a family of 3 or 4, right? So I just remove 4 radish and then leave the next balance 12 there. So next week I may took 2. Only this 4, something like 4 weeks I may not use more than 16 radish. Then I go for other vegetables. I have beetroot, I have carrot, I have palak, I have methi, I have dhania. So I get to use fresh. If, for example, such a huge terrace, you create that concept of square feet gardening. So every flat get 1 square feet garden. And the beauty, you know what? Senior citizens, disabled people, kids, everyone can work on that. It's like healthy thing, physically and mentally, plus you get that satisfaction, yes, I am growing my own vegetables out of my own compost. So it's going to be more of self-sustainable thing. Like when food waste and peels and things which I used to sell to the dumping ground and then getting to generate greenhouse gases and then again increasing the temperature. Today हम लोग bite नहीं पा रहे इधर. It's so again so humid. Monsoon का वो अलग है, but temperatures are building up because who is the culprit? Last 50 years we have done the damage, and then we are blaming others. Like, see, for example, 5,000 tons of garbage goes to municipal Devna dumping ground every day. 5,000 tons. There is no place, and it is a ticking bomb. The food waste and horticulture waste, whatever you are sending there, what happens the moment they dump it, and they start emitting methane. Methane is more dangerous than carbon dioxide. And it's like, imagine your gas stove, you just click it and then they start flaming. The moment they get, even someone throws, some rag picker throws a BD, they get caught fire. So this is where the fire happens in these dumping grounds. So who is responsible? You and me. We are sending all our food waste there and they are emitting methane, they are breaking down, they are emitting methane, and then one spark causes a fire which pollutes the entire city and which people cannot smoke. We have all asthmatic patients. Who is responsible? You and me. If we can cut short the long journey of the trucks going from all the way here, create one composting zone. For example, this 500 flats, there is going to be one composting zone here. Okay. Today, there are technologies where you compost, you generate electricity, which is required for run your, for example, all the common areas. The whole thing comes in a what do you call a container, fitted into a container. Food waste, they create everyday food waste. They go into that, they create biogas out of it, and the biogas is used to run a generator, and the generator is used to connect all these common area amenities. So you are not sending anything to the dumping ground. At the same time, you're utilizing that power generated to you reduce your electricity bill. So it's a lot of nice things have come up. Unfortunately, we are not connected to that. That's it. So, so going back to the composting part, composting is very simple. There are two types of composting, as I said. One is aerobic and there is anaerobic. And I say aerobic, it's anything that comes in contact with air is aerobic. And then once they don't come into the air, we call it anaerobic, right? So traditionally, what we used to do composting in our village, we used to dig a pit, put everything inside the pit, close it, forget it, then dig another pit, a trench, small trench, and then fill it and then forget it. And then after 2 or 3 months, we dig the first pit, and then whatever comes out, it's an excellent compost. That's what the farmers do, and that we have been doing for generations. But here we don't have space and all those things. Then we have to go for the second method called the anaerobic, so where we have open pits method and all those stuff, right? So basically, to do a composting, two things is required: carbon and nitrogen, right? You throw anything out, automatically you don't do anything. You just study tomato को फेंक दीजिए, ठीक है? What happens? By nature, it shrinks, it loses its water. अब कुछ भी नहीं करेंगे तो भी but sunlight only it will lose its moisture, it will shrink. After some time, a few seeds may fall and then they may germinate on their own. When you find a few tomato plants nearby area, okay, and the skins, whatever left over, they will degrade, they will compost, and they will go back to soil. That's it. This is what nature does. But if you want to replicate it, you give them a space. Maybe, as I said, you dig a pit, and in those pit, what you're doing, putting all your waste. That's it. Here, only thing is you have to do it little organized manner. Okay. When I say greens and browns, we can keep it this two way. For a composting, there are two things needed. One is greens. When I say greens, all your kitchen waste, like can be your peels of any vegetables, fruits. We can avoid citric thing in this. I will tell you why later. And it goes there, including the leaves, green leaves, lawn shredding, जो भी lawn जो आप cut करते हैं उसका waste, all this comes under greens. When I say browns, anything that is dried, fallen naturally, it can be all these trees, everything. Again, here also there is one thing, like for example, there are bamboo leaves. If I have a huge plantation of bamboo, so what happens, like bamboo's leaves are highly rich in lignin, cellulose thing like. So what happens, like their variety is little different, so they don't get composted fast compared to other normal leaves. These leaves, they compose faster. Okay, so we may try avoiding bamboo, or if you want to compose bamboo, keep a separate pit for them. Otherwise, all other leaves, dry leaves, we call as the brown. Okay, so other than this brown, if I don't get much dry leaves, then I use cardboard paper, because again, if you see cardboard or newspaper, everything, they have come out from leaves only. Because the product, if you see, how do I make paper? From the pulp of the trees and all those things are used to make paper. So I take browns, and I say browns, I say it's only dried leaves, it can be newspaper, it can be shredded cardboards, whatever it is. Okay. So brown, 3 times of carbon and 1 part of nitrogen. So what happens? What is generally what is the mistake we do in doing composting? Because food is the normal thing, food waste and all that. Don't put any cooked food inside this. What happens if we put cooked food? For example, a rice, uncooked rice. If you leave it alone, it will be there for hundreds of years without degrading. The moment I cook it, within 24 hours, it starts stinking, it gets attracting all other thing. So better to stay away, because the moment I put food here, you can see those flies getting attracted, the smells आएगा. Then आप लोग complain करेंगे नहीं मैं डाल दिया. माटी जी का हमेशा फोन आते हैं, अरे उसको मैं क्या करूँ, वो कीड़ा कीड़ा आता है, small और fruit flies आते हैं. So people get disappointed, नहीं मुझे नहीं करना है. Then your wife says आप कुछ मत करो, इनको बाहर लेके जाओ, मुझे नहीं करना है. That generally happens like. So then first one you will lose interest in composting. Even when you put your fruit waste, I'm telling you, I'm saying put the fruit peels. If you have not eaten your banana is rotten there, you just put that banana is again 90% water in that, and then you throw it there, and then they start attracting those flies. Okay. So whatever you put, start with the peels first. Provided I'm just telling this in case you are going to try in this basket and keep in your balcony. Okay. Start with your peels, and as I said, it's going to be a combination of 3:1. Why 3:1? 3 part of carbon, browns, SAU, and 1 part of nitrogen. The green part is rich in water content, moisture content. Okay. So the more if I add those things, and if I put less of browns and more of greens, suddenly they become turn slimy. You feel that arey kuch se pani aa raha hai, niche aa raha hai. It's like, no, my compost is not happening. How do I know my compost is happening or not? I just put my hands inside and then see the temperature. If there is warm and then kuch garam lag raha andar, that shows that yes, microbes already started acting on it. Okay. So the main thing is before you start the composting is the starter culture that is important. Don't go think like starter culture matlab main kidhar se leke aau. No. It can be a previous composted thing or ready-made compost. उसका एक हाथ डाल दिया तो उसके अंदर microbes रहते हैं. Best thing is in-house. The starter culture would be our curd or your buttermilk, because they are very rich in microbes. So they can be a starter culture. If I get some cow dung, fresh cow dung, okay, so I can add those cow dung to it, because there is nothing that is not there in the cow. All cow dung is one of the why we say Gomata and why we worship it, because of that microbial thing which is very rich in the cow dung thing. Okay. So cow dung can be a very good starter culture. If I don't get cow dung, I don't get cow dung everywhere. So what do? I said, as I told you, you can use your own curd or buttermilk, can be a starter culture. If I am lucky, there is an agricultural land nearby where there has been organic farming or something going by without using chemical fertilizer, right? So I can even go get some handful of soil from there and I can mix that, because that contains microbes. Okay, so these all can be a starter culture. Even in your garden area, there will be certain areas where you will see more of earthworms, particularly monsoon time up when you take around the garden, you will see earthworms coming from there. So those are the areas, it's an indicator, yes, that particular area is very good. In fact, traditional knowledge of thing, like for example, if in those days, a farmer goes, if he wants to go and buy a land, what they do, they take a cock with them, Muruga. And what they do is like, okay, I want to buy this 1 acre, 2 acre of land. They go and then set a small hut there and then stay there. And they allow their cock to go here and there. So 1 week they are going to stay there. Every day they will observe the sound of the cock, morning. So if the soil is good, they will be having a lot of earthworms in there. So that is the feed for the cock. And if the soil is bad, there will be no earthworms, so the cock is not going to get any feed. And 1 week it is not having any food at all. And then naturally the sound is going to reduce. So the farmer says, okay, I don't want this land, or I buy this land. Very simple. This way our ancestors have been connected to nature, and there's something which we miss today. So like this thing, what I was telling you, anything what you see in your garden, if you go in for a walk and then you see particular area where there are more of birds going there and particular area kyun ja raha hai, then you find that there's something more enriched in that area which is not available in this area. You can take a handful of that soil, add it to that compost pit, okay, and that's going to be a starter culture. So the moment that starts, actually that is sufficient for the initiating the process. Once that initiates, and then you are going to maintain the same thing till the last get composted. Okay. So for example, in this case, for example, I am adding mix of greens and browns, and added the starter culture. And आपको लगेगा actually this क्या है, मैं 4-5 दिन में मेरा भर जाएगा. But believe me, in my house I started, we are 3 of us, and my in-laws come and we have 5. Not less than 45 days it took me for filling this. Because you think that 15 days में भर जाएगा, आपको लगेगा भरेगा, but it is nothing but moisture, and then the moment it goes inside and microbial thing starts acting on it, they will start shrinking. All your peels, they will shrink, and then और आधा हो जाएगा. So you will keep on adding one above the other, and then next thing you will see it is shrinking again and again. So even if you have 2 or 3 of such units in your house, you can fill one thing and then leave it, and then start with the next, and then find it within 15 days it has become half. Okay. So this greens and browns you are going to mix in a proportion of 3:1, and then stir once in 15 days. Why once in 15 days? Because it should be uniform. उसको आपको नहीं तो एक जगह पे होता है, एक एयर सर्कुलेशन नहीं होता है, तो अंदर चोकअप हो जाता है, then you start stinking. So this stirring activity is important, and to maintain the composting thing. And when you stir, you also will come to know whether मेरा composting हो रहा है कि नहीं हो रहा है. हाथ अंदर डालने के बाद आपको लग रहा है कुछ गर्मी लग रही है, yes, my composting is happening, right? And main thing is the moisture. For anything to survive, we need water. What is the fundamental thing? Water. So I should ensure that you can buy a normal spray thing and then keep your thing moist. Don't pour water. So the moisture has to be there for the composting to happen. Second thing is the aeration has to be there for the composting to happen, because here at least we have all the holes over here. But if I'm going to put in a pit, and it would be better if we can put a few pipes, because niche tak hawa nahi jayega. So air goes there. It would preferably in a shaded area. Why? Because when there is sun, we get to lose some nutrients. So it's the shaded area, it's better. And if it's a home compost, then something big like this, or even the tub like kind of thing, whatever you can do with some holes in the side, all those things can be happen. And main thing is, when you're doing composting, you will get, after 15 days, you will find a liquid oozing out there. You can keep this on a tray or something. That liquid leachate, actually, it is a compost tea, you can say. That is extract of all the nutrients. Generally, people think like, ganda ho gaya mera, no, I'm going to throw it. No, in fact, that is the most nutritious part. The compost tea can be diluted. For example, if I'm getting 1 liter of the compost tea, I can dilute it into 1:20 ratio, and then I can use it for all my plants. So that has got a very rich nutrient value, actually. And it will take at least 60 days. If I'm full with this today, and allow it for 60 days without disturbing. But if I'm adding slowly, थोड़ा मैं ऐड करते आता हूँ, 60th day तो मेरा फर्स्ट डे हो जाएगा, वो रेडी हो, नीचे पूरा रेडी हो जाएगा, then आधा तो रेडी होएगा, आधा नहीं रेडी होएगा. So what I can do is, after 60 days, I can remove whatever is ready, and then the top one which is yet to be composted, that goes down, and then I can add new lot to this. Okay. So I get ready-made compost in.
Take that.
If I am using this full basket from day one, right? So, but I am keeping on adding 59th day also I keep adding somewhere here. Okay. So that whatever thing is ready composted, you can remove that, and uncomposted thing you can start again fresh. What the composting which is ready, the compost which you harvested, that can be a starter culture for the next compost bin. Okay. Same thing, if you are doing in a pit also, the same principle applies. But in pit, one beauty is like, once my pit khatam ho gaya, filled ho gaya, then I just close it with soil and then go for the next pit, trench method. Okay. How do I know that whether my compost is ready or not? Very simple thing. You take a polythene cover, take the fresh compost, put inside that. If the composting or microbial activity is still going on, you will find that dew-like thing the next day morning, because they breathe, right? So, so that's an indication, yes, the composting is good, but it is not over. Composting is still happening. So what do? Allow it for some more days. And the temperature will gradually go down, because the microbial activities almost come to a stop, right? And if my compost is really good, take a small pan or a pot, put the seeds in there. Best thing is your radish seeds. Radish seeds, why? Because the cycle of the plant is very short, like 48 hours में आपको germination दिखेगा. Put radish seeds and see that how they germinate. In a very good compost, you will see all those seeds germinating, and that's an indicator. Yes, my thing is happening. Many times when people, when the compost is not ready, what happens? Like the seed, they don't germinate. I tried it myself, and people today they get this 24 hours. There are machines. They call it ready-made compost. Compost happens in 24 hours. No, don't fall for all those things. People have this mindset of thinking anything that is black is compost. No. They come with machines which use, they sell up food, पूरा food waste इसके अंदर डाल दो, हम उसके अंदर हम लोग टेम्परेचर देख के हमारा थर्मोफिलिक बैक्टीरिया है, उसके अंदर आप फूड डालेंगे, वो कंपोस्ट रेडी हो जाएगा 24 आवर्स के अंदर, आप उसका गार्डन में यूज़ करो. नो, you will lose your plants intact. So don't fall for all those stuff. Compost is a natural process. It will take its own time. It is like wine. The more the old, the better the value. Same thing. Composting is also the carbon nitrogen ratio is very important for composting. The CN ratio, what we call. And say for example, this is a croton tree over here, right? You see, there is one beautiful. I saw that lemon tree. I did the plantation there. There was a lemon tree over there. Okay, this is the season. You will find this black larva there in that, like you are called citrus butterfly. So next generation, if you want them to see some butterflies, we talk about butterfly life cycle. Egg से larva आता है, larva से pupa बनता है, pupa से butterfly बाहर आता है. But then I saw that कीड़ा, then immediately they will go and spray. अरे मालिक बोलो कीड़ा आ गया, अरे kill that, or अरे that is the there's going to be butterfly in another 15 days. वो कीड़ा कितना पत्ता का खाएगा, मैक्सिमम इट में ये 10 or 15 लीव्स, उसका लाइफ टाइम उतना ही खाएगा. Whereas that plant has got thousands of leaves, but we don't see that. So the ultimate thing is this happens when we are not connected with nature. So our aim, in fact, my campus, we started a small butterfly enclosure where we started showing these employees, not in the picture like chart, showing them right eggs of the butterfly, how the eggs become larvas. A few of them were lucky to see the butterfly emerge out of the pupa. And for millennials, this is a lifetime opportunity because butterflies, when they emerge out, they don't fly immediately. So they take 3 to 4. अच्छा क्या है, unless I scan, अच्छा scan करते कुछ तो नाम निकलता है. I created this in my department because I want them to come and connect. They will not. I will not be there every time to go and tell them what is the name of this. So the moment I put a QR code, I am seeing youngsters coming and scanning. What is this QR code? अच्छा स्कैन करने के बाद उसको पूरे ट्रीज का हिस्ट्री बाहर आता है. When I connected to the website, there were all those trees का पूरा डिटेल आता है, so they are happy. अरे कुछ तो है इसमें. So then concepts. For example, I was talking about square feet gardening. I was talking about vertical tower gardening. So where, for example, if you grow in a pot, you may, for example, onion. If I'm growing small onion in a pot, I may not able to grow more than 10 onions. So I created a concept of, because Mumbai, the problem is space. I don't have much space, but I would like to have more vegetables. I would like to grow more vegetables. Then instantly what we did is we converted the same pot into vertical tower. So in place of 10 onions, we were able to grow 100 onions. No competition because soil is there, sunlight is there, everything is there, watering is done, but same space is occupied by the pot, but 10 times more yield. I was just imagining, what if a farmer can implement this concept? 1 acre or half acre farmer, when it's red, naturally it's going to ask, yes, my matti dry ho gaya, I need water. You plant a few sunflowers over here. Sunflower is an indicator plant, what we call. The moment sunflower is falling, then it's an indicator that there is a requirement for water in the soil. You can add water immediately. Tell your gardener, don't water your garden every day, because plants don't need water every day. We all make these mistakes. Like, they only need moisture to survive. 99% of the water, whatever you are going to give the plants, are going into the soil. So there's root zone, effective root zone, what we call. Those are the areas actually which need to be kept moist. How do we keep them moist? By covering those areas with mulch. What is mulch? Anything that is fallen from the leaves, trees, nature, you just use them, cover them. People generally think, nahi, ye ganda dikhte. No, ganda nahi hai. That is the way nature protects itself. If you go to forest, no one cleans, no one does the housekeeping inside a forest. all the leaves what are fallen, they convert that into humus, and those humus are the place. Actually, it takes thousands of years for that humus to get generated. What we destroy within one JCB से हम लोग पूरा खोद देते हैं. But 1 feet का create होने के लिए humus it takes thousands of years, which we don't know. Because earthworms go there, they activate, they till the whole thing, and they create that vermicasting. Those things get built upon. Whereas we are trying to replicate the same in the composting bin here, trying to create vermicomposting or normal composting. Nothing is different from vermicomposting and the composting. Only thing is the normal composting तैयार होने के बाद, then we allow the worms to do the role. The day one, if I put earthworms inside that, if I put earthworms directly into my composting bin, what will happen? Earthworms will die. So people think that कुछ भी है खाना पीना डाल दूंगा मैं earthworms vermicompost हो जाएगा. No, there is a pre-composting thing, because earthworm size of an earthworm is smaller than the soil particle size. So you cannot expect the earthworms to go and eat your bananas and all your rice. No. So what happens is the microbes already play a role. They degrade the leaves and all other litters, and then the earthworms take over from there, because you observe within 48 hours that area will get more of earthworms, because that's the, if provided there is this area is fertile. Okay, there should be earthworms in this area, right? But if I cannot go and keep on digging kidhar earthworms are naturally, because for that earthworms will come. Okay, and that is the earthworms which I collect naturally. There are 1,500 varieties of earthworms, out of which only 8 are being identified for composting, and out of 8 only 4 are suitable for Indian condition. And those 4 may you can pick anything, or allow it to natural jo bhi hai mera normal indigenous varieties whatever available. I can start with them. They will do the work, but it will be a little slow, but it's going to take time. But yes, let it be, let the nature play on its work. Right. So that is vermicomposting is a different area, but normal composting you can